for glory. I am bred for excellence. I'm the living embodiment of excellence. I am a specimen of natural supremacy. I am a model of perfection, the height of celestial glory made manifest. Every cell of my body shines with excellence. I exude superiority. I demonstrate virtue, character, strength. I am high-flown, heroic excellence made manifest. Blessed by the elixir of sacred victory. I am a triumphant champion, conquering with ease.
Fair use. All copyrights go to
comic, and the ending of this
Comics Explained. This is for entertainment purposes only. I want to show the side of Batman most people don't realize is always been there.
Batman stops holding back in this comic, and the ending of this is gonna blow your mind. So what this does is this initially opens up with Batman basically in hiding, talking to Zur-En-Arr, which we will explain, because I don't want to leave you guys hanging. Now, if you guys want to actually see what happened in these comics, make sure you check the Batman playlist at the end of this video. But the quick and dirty explanation here is that Batman's in hiding because of a story called Gotham War, which is a really, really terrible story. No wonder he's in hiding, probably hiding from the story itself, but also because he's currently battling Zur-En-Arr. Now, Zur-En-Arr is a persona of Bruce Wayne, and it's one that he didn't know he had. In fact, we didn't know he had it until there was a story called Batman Failsafe, and that'll actually become an important part of this, and we'll talk more about that as we get through it. But in effect, Zur-En-Arr had built Failsafe, and the nature behind Zur-En-Arr is that he is essentially the persona that manifests whenever Batman is too traumatized. But now that the persona has manifested, it's always trying to take control of Bruce Wayne's mind. Now, the other thing that Bruce is doing here is he's hunting for the Joker, and this is where the ending is going to blow your mind, because we're going to...
So, to kind of get in context, I don't really understand it myself. There is a personality inside Batman that manifested itself because of all his trauma in life, and then I guess everything. You know how he plans for everything? So it's like almost his subconscious made a plan in case he got traumatized and can't, he prepares for everything. So he probably thought, well, what if somebody makes me unconscious? You know what I mean? What if someone like the Joker drives me insane? What the fuck am I gonna do then? I'm the worst superhero there is. So,
Let's talk about that here in a little bit. But what this does is this actually references Justice League number 50 in the sense that Bruce Wayne isn't looking for just one Joker, he's looking for the three of them. Now, why does that matter? Because in Justice League number 50, as part of Darkseid War, Bruce Wayne learned there were three Jokers. There was a story that was written called The Three Jokers by a guy named Jeff Johns. It looks like DC's ignoring that.
Lucky number 3.
And more recently, there was a story called Joker, the Man Who...
Now, anyone that's been watching this whole time, you're going to hear me say that all the time, and unless you've been here since the beginning, or, then you're just going to hear things. Notice how many numbers are in things.
Stopped laughing, which doesn't really seem to apply here either. In fact, that's really more about imposter Jokers as opposed to three actual Jokers. But what this does, right, this journey on the hunt for the Joker and all that kind of stuff, it leads Batman to a crime scene where a guy by the name of Wilfred Mueller has basically been strung up. Right now, this guy, of course, is the heir to the Play East Toys fortune, but the way he's been strung up between the lights and everything else, it's all done and all adorned with bats. And in fact, there's actually a giant N written on the ceiling in blood. Now, what's the first thing Batman thinks of when he thinks of N? he thinks of a map. And so what he ends up doing here is he actually looks at the way this guy's strung up. He realizes it's bats attached to a ceiling, and then when he takes the way those bats are arranged, applies them to a map, he realizes each one of these bats is in a location that he visited as he was becoming Batman, when he was training and all that kind of stuff. And so what ends up happening is this journey takes him to the home of a woman named Rosa Lemueller, right, the actual matriarch of Play
Rose, really?
these toys. And as he tells us, time went by, the company and her children moved beyond dolls, and Rosa was left behind. A recluse for the last 20 years of her life, she never left her mansion. It was just her, alone, with her dolls. And it's actually kind of horrifying, right? Like, it's literally like a scene from that movie Dead Silence with the old woman and her ventriloquist dolls. It was pretty creepy. Now, of course, as you would expect in a situation like this, all these dolls start attacking Batman, and they do it in a variety of different ways, right? Like, they're blasting him with flamethrowers and stuff like that, but a giant's human-sized doll comes out of nowhere. Now, of course, Batman basically helps this guy understand his place in the bigger picture by beating him within an inch of his life, but when his helmet flies off, it's Joker pain, right? Now, it's not the traditional Joker pain, it's more the henchman pain, but this guy says, he took me back. After everything I did, he took me back, right? Now, what's really cool here is we're given the identity of this guy, which is Floyd Shannon, one of Joker's old goons. Now, I'm not really sure why this guy's given particular attention. It's not like he's the henchman from, Brian Azzarello's Joker one-shot comic or anything like that, but the fact remains here that Batman...
It's to show you how loyal Joker's men are.
Duh.
Now, even though he treats them the way he does.
Man makes his way through as all this goes down. And what he ends up doing is basically coming across like this kind of really creepy caricature, right? This mannequin that's laying in bed with a TV for a head. And what he ends up seeing is that the Joker is interrogating a woman. And in fact, this woman's name is Lucy. And Lucy was in effect a kind of cat burglar, right? One of the people that contributed to Batman's training in learning how to be like sneaky and stealthy. But what's so...
Really? I wonder why Catwoman never stands a chance. I wonder how he always beat... Oh, because he's been trained in all her ways by a woman that was a master.
Crazy about this is that while Batman's in this room watching this, he realizes the Joker is in the ceiling looking down at him. It looks pretty wild, kind of creepy. I love it. Like, I absolutely love it. Of course, Batman flies through the ceiling, but what ends up happening is the voice of Zur-En-Arr manifests for a split second, right? Batman's talking to himself. He's like, thank God Lucy's free. Now I can focus on him, throw him in a pit. And the voice of Zur-En-Arr says, for a million years. So it's always kind of like...
Really?
influence trying to take control of Batman.
One of you go and look up what that name means, Zur-En-Arr, because I don't know how to spell it, and I look up things random. I'm doing too many things. It'll lead you to something. Or I'll do it. Mental note, make a fucking video on that name, because that's got to be something. I wonder what that means.
And so what he ends up doing is he actually comes across this just really twisted makeshift setup that the Joker had put together of basically some of the most horrendous moments in Batman's history. Of course, the first one is the death of his parents. The second one is the death of Jason Todd during Death in the Family. The third one is the death of Alfred during the events of, City of Bane in Tom King's Batman run. And of course, the last one is the perceived death of Catwoman. And it's one of these things where it's kind of like, it's the happiest days of your life, that kind of thing. Now, what's really interesting about this is it's the Joker commentating on like the nature of Batman, right? Because what is Batman if not a guy who finds happiness in misery, right? Batman doesn't know how to be happy. If Batman woke up one day and he discovered a genie and he rubbed the lamp and the genie's like, I can grant you one wish, and Batman says like, I wish I could be happy, the genie's gonna like do its magic, move its hands, and then cock its head to the side confused and say, that's weird, it doesn't seem to be working, right? Batman
Why?
is incapable of happiness.
No. Batman's life is the mission. When the mission is finished, he can be happy. He chose a mission that can never end. So, you know, doing the mission is him happy. That's why he always survives and everyone around him doesn't. Because they don't take it as serious as he does. So they make mistakes.
And so because of that, you have this really interesting kind of back and forth where the Joker says that nagging butler buzzing in your ear, telling...
Why do you think he doesn't like to do the Bruce Wayne thing? Because he likes being Batman. It makes him happy to save people. It makes him happy to know all it takes is one bad day and you could become the Joker. But he's out there doing something, stopping some people from having a really bad day. Get it?
You to slow down all the time. Bam! Dead. Funny, isn't it, Bruce? When someone holds you back, they just disappear. I'm starting to suspect you're the real killer. So the obvious question now is, who's next? Aren't they all in your way now? All your little back chumps. And basically what the Joker's saying here is, it sucks to be associated with Batman. Because when you're friends with Batman, you die. And so it's a really wild kind of situation here. I really enjoy it. But what's so fascinating is that as they talk, the Joker's talking to Batman, but not really talking to Batman, right? He kind of references the events of Joker, the man who stopped laughing, and talking about a kind of identity crisis and different things like that. But he says, I want to fight the real you. And where Bruce Wayne...
How does he know about him?
He's like, wait, what are you talking about? You end up realizing that the...
Batman doesn't know the personality is in his mind. How the fuck does the Joker know?
Joker has kind of been emanating a gas inside this room, which doesn't really shut Batman down in his entirety, but it seems to remove his inhibitions. And in fact, Batman is kind of in the sunken place. For those of you guys who have seen Get Out by Jordan Peele, it's effectively that, right? He just kind of gets trapped inside of his own mind, and he takes away control of his ability to control his own mind. When that happens, Zur-En-Arr manifests. Now, this guy is Old Testament, right?
Really?
Like when Joker says, I want to fight the real you, that's what he's talking about. Unlike Bruce Wayne, who always holds back and he doesn't kill or anything like that, Zur-En-Arr has no reservations, right?
Oh.
Like, he will help you finish with all your living and be home in time for cornflakes. And that's the guy that Joker wanted to fight. So Zur-En-Arr manifests, immediately uppercuts this guy, right? He's just like, no more victims. Tonight I'm going to kill you. And so literally Bruce Wayne is trapped inside his own mind, only to turn around and find out that he's not alone. That instead, he's surrounded by all these multiversal versions of Zur-En-Arr. Now, here's the kicker, right? Kind of referencing that multiversal story. That was a story that took place, which we did cover, and again, is in the Batman playlist, where in effect, Bruce Wayne was jumping through the entirety of the multiverse. When that was happening, he was coming across all these different multiversal versions of himself. Of course, that story was released in time for The Flash, I'm pretty sure. But there's like Batman Beyond here, right? Like the old Michael Keaton Batman, Adam West, Batman the Animated Series, The Dark Knight, right? The old like Justice League version. I mean, hell's bells. There's even the Batman from like the Adam West intro. So I mean, like there's all kinds.
Multi-universal, different Batmans. I was gonna say something, but then I thought about it real fast and don't make sense. But it does make sense, but it don't make sense. But I'm just gonna say it anyway. Hey, yo, bro, for real, there's multiple, there's almost uncountable universes. You couldn't have made one black Batman. We got black Superman, for crying out loud. God damn it! Can't we be Batman and put the cow on?
There's all kinds of Batman here, right? Like just everyone that you could possibly imagine. So now Bruce Wayne has to effectively fight these different variations of his own mind, while Zur-En-Arr is just kind of running three out there within the city and within the real world facing off against the Joker. He says, no matter which Batman I'm dealing with, you're all relentlessly predictable, right? But here's the thing that he's not prepared for. That the Joker himself isn't really prepared for. The relentless nature of Zur-En-Arr. Is he predictable? Kind of. But Zur-En-Arr is also representing a little bit of chaos here. He's not quite, the Batman who laughs, but he also doesn't hold back in the same way that Bruce Wayne does. This guy will keep coming for you.
Because Batman, in his regular mind, knows good and evil. And his thought process is, you can change. I give you time to change. I'm not the judge and execution. But when you take that away from him, all he is the judge. So if you're evil, he has to become the executioner.
Until he finds you and until he kills you. And that's what took the Joker by surprise. Because he's just like hounding this guy in the extreme. He's not like buying into the Joker's game. He's not doing the cat and mouse thing.
He's not talking. He's not doing the monologues where you get to talk about your plan and laugh. No, those are moments where you're wide open. So I'm throwing fucking punches at you, He's not doing the movie shit no more. He's like, oh, you want to fight the real me? The one that does not play around at all? Alright, no problem.
Which is why you see this just flabbergasted look of shock and surprise on the Joker's face when Zur-En-Arr just comes bearing down on him and is just like, time to die. Because what he does is he immediately grabs him and just starts pummeling him, right? Just starts fighting him. And he's like, maybe I don't kill you. Maybe I just snap your neck, right? Snap it just right. Snap it so that you can't move. Snap it.
Like, this is why Batman puts so much restraints on himself. Because he has all that power and all that knowledge. That's why he just pummels people and just tries not to judge and be like, alright, I'm gonna make sure you can't. I'm gonna make sure you can't hurt nobody, dog. I don't have to just get rid of you. I'll make you one of them now. Now you're a victim. Now your strength and all your thoughts and all, now you're powerless. And when other people that you made a victim see you, well, now they can do whatever they want to you. Like you did to them.
So a machine needs to breathe for you, right? So it's one of those things where he just kind of allows all of his anger.
I mean, the Lord did say what goes around comes around, right?
Is just kind of let loose in that moment, almost like a Punisher becoming the Batman, if you will, right? And Joker's just like, I love it, right? Now this is a fight.
The Punisher was just a well-trained Marine and, an assassin. Batman is the greatest thinker in the entire fucking Marvel universe, where multi-level god beings are afraid of him. There's no super-powered guy afraid of the Punisher. He's just gonna come with your guns. Well, you guys guns. Ain't nobody scared of a fucking gun when you can blow the planet up, nigga. Are you serious? Lex Luthor's a man, and he's not scared of him.
Right? Leaning into it, all that kind of stuff. Now, there is a moment where Lucy does show up, right? Lucy Chesson appears.
Why doesn't Batman do that? Oh, because he knows all the bad people in town. He knows every bad cop. He knows every bad drug dealer. If he's been surveying all these, what the fuck do you think Batman's doing? Plus he's Bruce Wayne, so he's rich. He hears things. He knows everything, but he didn't become Batman to judge everyone. He came there to stop petty fucking crimes and help the widows and the homeless.
because she realizes this is not the Bruce Wayne that I know. The Bruce Wayne that I know is reserved. This guy's calm, right? This guy's able to keep himself composed. He doesn't lose control on Batman like that. And so once she starts to realize what's going on, and even Batman himself in this fight with his multiversal versions, which we'll talk about here in a second, even in that instance, right, where he kind of momentarily takes control of his body and just kind of explains to her what's going on, right? You've got to run from here. The Joker, he'll kill you, and I'm trapped inside my own mind. Her response is, yeah, but you're Batman, right? If there isn't an obvious way out, you will make one, right? You will find one. You always come out on top. And in that moment, that's when Zur-En-Arr manifests again. Now, the interesting thing about this is that it's not as though Zur-En-Arr ignores any and every kind of loyalty that anybody has to him. Instead, he seems to truly care for Lucy because she is a core and integral part of his existence, right? The person, or at least one of the many people, who trained Batman. And I don't know if I'd go so far as to say there's a kind of mother-like
Oh, Batman couldn't have been Batman without a woman. Go fucking figure.
there, but I will say the relationship between the two is pretty close. But jumping back over to the fight between Batman and his multiversal selves, I mean, this is pretty cool, right? It's kind of fascinating, because what we end up finding out here is that with the Zur-En-Arr personality always being there, but kind of lingering in the background, in Batman himself not even being aware of its presence, that in every single universe, every Batman has that kind of personality just lingering in their own mind. Sometimes it activated and sometimes it didn't. But what Zur-En-Arr did is that as Batman was jumping through the multiverse, Zur-En-Arr was waking up all those different personas. Because unlike Bruce Wayne, again, who is reserved and all that, Zur-En-Arr is just like, win by any means necessary. Beg, borrow, steal, and kill. Whatever you have to do in order to quote-unquote make the city safe and to make the world a safer place, right? Like, even if it means becoming some kind of like a dictator and killing all the other superheroes who stand in your way, it doesn't matter. And so this...
That's why Batman holds back. You know why? Because once you start doing that, you're breaking the golden rules. You think you're God. You're not allowed, you won't, once you clean up all the bad people, right? And you get rid of everyone, right? Well, what made them? Oh, choice. Some didn't get to make choices, some didn't, you get it? So then you have to make everything fair. Then you have to cater, you get it? It will end up, eventually you'll be just going to individual happinesses. So you're just going to have to rebuild the whole fucking world. You're not God.
Fight between Batman and his personas is really him just kind of overcoming that whole thing. Now, what's also kind of cool is you get like Batman, the animated series Batman, who kind of makes a comment. He says, planning goals beyond stopping the villain of the week, all of that. He says that and dedication. No more distractions, no more Bruce Wayne. Of course, saying that in response to Bruce asking the question, like, how exactly are you guys going to make the world safer, right? Which is exactly that. Eliminating all the villains that exist out there and even destroying the superheroes who stand in their way. And so that's where Bruce is like, never gonna happen, right? So basically starts incapacitating and fighting every single one of these guys. But even when he's trapped back in his own body again, after the conversation with Lucy, when Zur-En-Arr
Oh, so Batman kind of like actually is fighting for free will and choice and redemption, and he's like kind of like, you know, fighting, you know,
For both
for the
sides.
human experience.
Fucking
Not the
idiots.
imaginative bullshit we put in our minds, like everyone's good and everyone's bad and there's this and that and there's only one. Nah, people fuck up and can change. Some people change and some people are bad because of the fucking shit that's going on in the world, you know? So, nah, let's just play this, bullshit that we play.
takes control. He's met by the Dark Knight Returns persona. And this guy literally says, you're inferior, compromised. But that does not mean you are useless. We can use another fighter. Join us, we want the same thing. An end to crime. And in that way, it's actually an accurate statement, right? These Zero-Hour personas in Batman, they do want the same thing. They want crime to end, they want it to conclude, but the reality is they just want to go about it by different ways, right? They just have completely...
Yeah, so that would mean it's different. If they want to take free will away by destroying everyone, thinking, and then scaring everyone else, like, look what we did to them. Duh. Batman wants people to fucking change. Or you're going to jail. It's your choice. You know, we're going to lock you away forever until you change, or you're going to change. Or you're going to pretend to change and walk around until we catch you.
diametrically opposing views on how that end result should be achieved. And so what Batman does, because, Batman with prep time, he literally changes the entirety of the landscape because it is taking place in his own mind and creates what's called the memory palace. This is a way for him to just kind of go into hiding and to kind of take pot shots at these guys in different places because he knows...
No, it's not. When you watch enough movies, when you've, whatever, you hear things. I don't know what movie I heard this from, but that's a technique of, I think it was like Inception, maybe? And it was something about, or was it, maybe it was Batman, I don't know. All I know is something to deal with mental tricks in your own mind. And it said something about making a actual place using your imagination in your mind. You build it in your fucking mind, and now you have a fortress. And because you built it, it's in the ethers of your mind. Get it? You just didn't bring that out here and build it. But it's still there. It exists. As long as you can picture it and actually, hold thoughts in your mind. Unlike other people, because we just la da 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 da, and then we forget things. Well, some people are trained to be fucking mental masters. So when people try to mentally fuck you up, you can mentally destroy their ass. For humans, I would guess the best way to describe it is, being a master of your own dream. It's like somebody trying to come in your mind and your dream and beating you. The only reason they can beat you is because you're afraid. You don't know you're in your dream, your world, your God there. Anything the fuck you want to happen is going to happen. But you don't know, so you can't do that.
His mind, they do not. So literally, it's just one of these things.
Batman
They're
does.
fucking trapped.
You're done.
They're doomed.
You're fucking doomed.
He's God there.
Things where he creates a conflict on his own terms. Take these guys out here and there. It's not that dissimilar from like villains who have robbed a bank and they've taken to the sewers and they're making their way through, and Batman's just kind of dodging in and out of different...
No, this is a lot different. You're inside the place that you rule reality, because in your mind that's whatever you think, get it? So he can make shit change, and he can fucking be Superman, he can fly, he can go through the walls, he can do whatever the fuck he wants in there. They can't control that.
It's not their mind.
Can. Get it? It's a lot different than a supervillain having a plan and I'm gonna run to my hideout. Your hideout I can fucking melt the floor beneath your feet, dummy, and put a gun in my hand. Like the Matrix, dumb fuck, it's my mind. Anything I will to happen will happen. I'll just wave my hand and you'll drop over. Are you stupid?
Spots in order to incapacitate these guys. It's effectively what it is. But switching back to Joker, right? Because this is when you really see Batman stop holding back. Right? Joker says, okay, I think it's time for phase 2.
What do you think the little kid was trying to teach Neil about the spoon? You're not bending the spoon, really. The spoon doesn't bend. You bend. You bend reality. We just don't see reality bend, so we just see the spoon bend. Because they were always in the Matrix. They weren't in the real world. So anyone could have been Neo, if you fucking believe it.
And he says, don't you agree? But before he can even explain what it is, Zuranar is like, I don't care. I have no interest in that. It does not matter to me.
I'm watching this live with you. I knew that was gonna happen. Why? Because you said you wanted to fight the fucking total force of Batman, not Mr. I want to hear your monologue shit. No, I want to see if you can beat me to death. Like, you keep trying with your plans. You better come straight forward, straight hard. You know, Joker's one of the very few people that actually trap Batman and actually almost take him out all the time. So, he should have been thinking like that. Instead, he thinks he's gonna bring out a Vegeta in Batman, and it's gonna pop shit with him and talk about a dick swinging contest or something. No, nigga.
Yes,
No.
I've been waiting to do
What
it.
your goal is or what your scheme is,
nigga,
all of that
no.
is irrelevant. He literally just
Why? Why is he not gonna let you monologue your scheme? Because you're not gonna get it off. You did all that planning for nothing. I'm gonna beat you and I'm gonna break you, and you're not gonna do nothing. You wasted your time. You should have came here prepared for the fight, not no goddamn plan. Your plan should have been to get through Batman Unleashed.
like stomps on this guy, seemingly breaking his back in the process,
Oh my god.
and then lifts him up into the air with every intention of killing him and brings him down. And if his back wasn't broken before, it is now, because he snaps the thing like Bane, right? Literally breaks his back.
He fucking gave this nigga the Bane. Yo, like, yo, bro. He said, listen, I don't know what you're thinking, Joker, but you're not me. You're like Batman, Bruce. You know, you're the fucking full force Batman. Nah, you're not that, dog. You're not that.
The way that Bane broke Batman's back is just like ruthless, right? It is intense. Now back to Batman himself, right? When he's faced
You do realize Batman's like 6 foot tall, and he weighs 200 pounds, and it's solid muscles. Like, you do realize this, right? Joker's like 6'2", maybe a little shorter,
It's
but
like
he's about
Dennis
6 foot.
Rodman.
But he's like 140 or some shit.
It's like Michael Jackson.
You know, maybe 180
skinny.
because he's kind of tall.
It's like
you know,
Chris
skeleton
Tucker.
frame. But yo, he's not. You know, like Batman is a really big guy, bro. Batman is not no little nigga. The dudes that fight him are always bigger than him. But he's not a little man.
up against all these other personalities, he's taking little pot shots and hitting them where he can, when he can. For example, when he's fighting Michael Keaton Batman, right, like he throws like acid capsules, right, at Batman himself, right? And so where Batman's surprised, he's like, more toys like that where I come from. And the response of Batman, he's like, sure, but my advantage is that I can turn my head. And like he just like takes out Michael Keaton. Because the on-running joke, for those of you guys who don't know, the on-running joke is that because of the design of Michael Keaton's Batman suit back in the day, as dope as it was, he did not have the ability to turn his head.
Exactly.
In the old Batman '89 film by Tim Burton, go back and watch it. The guy never ever turns his head without turning his whole body because the suit doesn't allow it, right? When he goes up against the vampire version of himself, he literally like breaks out a Bible, and that's how he incapacitates that guy. But for the Dark Knight Returns Batman, this one is a lot more interesting because the Dark Knight Returns Batman was literally just a much older Batman who was a lot more battle hardened. Technically he was retired, but this guy has seriously beefed up. And so as they're fighting each other, Bruce Wayne realizes this is just a one-on-one.
That is the second or third most brutal beating I've ever seen Batman give somebody. Like what he just did to the Joker, that's bad. No, but that's like watching a bully just run over somebody in 2 seconds. Raw, do. You punch him a couple times, stomp the back, bring him up, break the back, throw him on the floor like he's nothing, fights over. You're walking around. You know what I mean? The older Batman that he's talking about fights this guy, and like a gang leader or some shit in the future, and like Gotham's losing. So Batman just stops fucking playing and says, Kumite, fight me for everything. I'm gonna take over your gang. You got rules and I wanna fight you. And this guy thinks he's gonna go in there and fight Batman. And he goes in there and fights a little bit of what this thing is, this personality. He goes in there and just fucking shows this guy like, I'm old. You're a young beef. You're in your prime. I'm gonna fucking show you. I'm gonna show you why they used to fear me. I'm gonna show you what the fuck this shit's really about. And he brutalizes this guy so bad. He breaks so many bones in this guy's body in front of his crew. And smashes his, like, I'm gonna put it on here one day. It's the worst beating I've ever seen. Like, that's why I be saying, like, the Batman people think, and the Batman that you actually, if you grow up and keep watching it, it becomes very adult, and you're like, yo, this ain't no cartoon, bro. I wouldn't even let my kid watch this shit.
A knockdown, drag out fight, right? This is not one of those where he can overcome him through like trickery or deception or anything like that. And so, of course, he beats the tar out of this guy. Literally beats this guy within an inch of his life.
Why? Just because you're a bigger, cockier version of Batman? Like, it's just like what Goku did to Vegeta when...
Now, the regular Batman is fighting the older Batman I was just talking about.
You know, he hit the fake Super Saiyan level 2 and he got real stocky. And he was real muscle. He's a muscle-bound Saiyan. You're just big, nigga. You got a little power, but you're fucking mad slow, dog. Like, when I hit you in these death spots, you dumbass, when I hit you in your throat, when I punch at your heart, when I hit under your shoulder and your arm can't, when I do these things that I know, and you're too big to do it now. You're too slow to go against Batman. That's why he made himself that size.
Every day I try to get outside, whether it's to walk
The
the
bigger they
dog.
are, the harder they fall. Why do you think Bane couldn't beat him?
And then suddenly he sees this kind of light in the distance, right? And when that happens, he realizes he can retake control of his body. And when that happens, he wakes up in what seems like some kind of base of operations, only for failsafe to manifest itself. But it's not simply failsafe, it's actually...
Show yourself! Face me, fool, and I will kill you! I will show you who rules Gotham City!
Okay, son.